This is Annie Kallis here from Coffee Time Coaching from Melbourne, Australia, and I'm very thrilled to be here with Mr. Blair Singer, public speaker extraordinaire, author of many best-selling books, and Rich Dad advisor to Robert Kiyosaki. Blair Singer has worked with Fortune 500 companies like Singapore Airlines, Redken, IBM, L'Oreal, just to name a few, and has taught in more than 25 countries around the world. So Blair, thank you so very much for being here. I know how busy you are, so I really, really appreciate your time.
Well, thank you for having me, and thank you for doing this whole program. Appreciate it.
Thank you. I'm very excited because I'm one of your participants in many of your programs, and I know you taught hundreds and thousands of people around the world. And everybody has experienced massive personal and professional transformations. And I'm continuously amazed and very inspired by the way you bring out the best in people. So I was one of them 3 years ago, and it really definitely changed my life and the direction that I'm going in. So what I would like to ask you is to please share with us what drives you and why do you do what you do?
Well, I don't know. I think that you got to ask the same question, what drives anybody to do what they do? And I think that when you find something that you do that you feel like you can be good at it, or you think that you can make a difference at it, or you feel like you can get some fulfillment and growth out of it, then you just keep doing it. So it becomes kind of a self-fulfilling thing. Like I teach and I work with people in business, and I help people get past a lot of their blocks and help them increase sales and do stuff like that. And I just found that I like doing it. So since I like doing it, I do more of it. And so when you do more of it, you get better at it. And you get better at it, you want to do more of it. So it becomes this cycle of things. So when you ask why do I do it, I wish I could tell you that I got hit with a lightning bolt one day and said, this is your destiny. But that's not it. I by a series of strange twists in the road over all the years and hanging out with very, very gifted and very, how would I say, very demanding coaches, I got steered in this direction. So I love teaching. I love helping using my experience to help other people get what they want out of life, particularly in the area of business and finance.
Yes, thank you. Thanks for that. Well, you know, when I met you at Trainer all those years ago, you actually coached me. I asked the question and you actually directed the whole conversation a different way. And it's absolutely amazing what came out of it. And it was like being hit by a light bulb, because I came up with something and you just turned it completely around, and it really made me look at myself, which I have never done before. So it was really amazing, and that's what amazes me. And I see you do it over and over and over at every single one of your programs. But
well,
you know,
hold on. Let me just say something. It's funny you should say that, because I was working with somebody today in a one-on-one coaching call, and a very similar thing happened. I just want to make a comment to that, and anybody that's watching this, is that I really believe that if you're able to step back from yourself and take a look at what you do, where you've been, what you're doing, how you act, what your strengths and weaknesses are, is it's probably pretty clear what you should be doing and what direction you should be going to maximize who you are, right? But you know what? It's hard when you're in it. It's hard when you can't see the forest for the trees sometimes. And I think that my ability, not that's my ability, is just that I've worked with so many people over so many years that when you say something or somebody else says something, it's very easy. Well, not always easy, but it's easier for me to see through to what the truth and the reality is, and then make a slight alteration so that you can get on track to what it is you need to be doing. And I think that, if you're a parent, you know how to do that with your kids, because you can you can see things in your kids that your kids can't see in themselves. And everybody can see something in somebody else that they can't see in themselves. But if you've got somebody that can support you in seeing the best in you that you don't see in yourself and getting you to move in that direction, that's what a good coach should do.
Well, I think you said once that you got to surrender, and I definitely have surrendered to the teachings and to being guided. And I'm like a sponge now. I just want more knowledge because it's amazing. But you know, one of the things that I realized back then was how much I was in my head. And then I went out and I bought your book, the Little Voice Mastery book. And I've got all your books, but I have to say that's the one that I go to all the time. And if I may show you what it looks like, it's actually falling apart. It's got all these notes in there. It's the Little Voice Mastery book, How to Win the War Between Your Ears in 30 Seconds and Less and Have an Extraordinary Life. Well, I tell you what, I just realized how many voices I've got in my head, and I also got the CD, which is in my car, and I've been listening to it for 3 years, all the time. And I just realized how much I'm in my head. So I know that when I was reading up about you, that back in 2009, when this book came out on Amazon, it actually sold out in very quickly in a couple of hours. So what do you attribute this book to, the success of this book to? What happened? That's amazing.
Well, I would say that the success of the book overall, not just at that Amazon release, but I think that the success of the book overall is that it kind of demystifies this whole war that goes on between everybody's ears. You know, everybody talks about personal development, and there's 1,000 books on personal development. And I've probably spent $500,000 in personal development coaching and seminars for me over the years. Just because when I first got in tune with all that back in 1982, it just became an obsession of mine to want to learn more about what's going on in here and how to get to the best of me and get the stuff that's in the way out of the way. So the reason the book's been successful is what I did is I took the best of what I learned from all of my teachers and gurus, and which are to this date some of the best in the business, and put it together in a way that that an average person that had the desire anyway could understand the workings of your mind, the workings of your subconscious, why sometimes your emotions hijack you and why they don't, and more specifically what to do about it. In like 20 different instances, if your little voice is saying, I don't think I'm good enough, here's what you do. You do this, 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 and this right now, and in 30 seconds you can turn it around, because your mind, the conversation in your mind is just a conversation, and you can override it with whatever you want to if you know what to say and what to do. So this is probably the best primer, best starter that you could get your hands on.
It definitely is, and if I may share with you, obviously 3 years ago I decided that I would like to go down on the same path and become a coach and a facilitator, and my voice was telling me, well, I don't know how to do that. How do I do that? I don't know how to do that. I don't know anything. And interestingly, after listening to your CD for a whole year, the last strategy is how to overcome the I don't know how to do it. And I'm sitting there really upset and wondering, how am I going to follow you? How am I going to do this? How am I going to do it? I don't know how to do it, and getting completely and utterly out of my mind. And there you are, you keep on talking, but I'm not really present, not listening. And then all of a sudden I realize that I'm not listening. And then I listen, and that's when we got to strategy number 20, and there it was. And it was like a light bulb moment. And since then, every time I say I don't know how to do it, I appreciate that I don't know how to do it. And then I think, now how would Blair do it? Or how would so-and-so do it? And if I would know how to do it. So these strategies are absolutely brilliant. And the best thing about it is that, it's like a ripple effect. It goes to my family. My son, we celebrate all the wins. And he comes and tells me, celebrate all wins, Mom. And I kind of forget. So every strategy in there is absolutely awesome. And I've used every single one of them, and it actually works. It's brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant. And to actually know how to, I wanted to have a look at which are the areas that I can grow or learn more. So I actually went onto your website and I did the free diagnostic. and it was absolutely spot on. The little voice diagnostic. Do you want to tell me how you came up with that and to put it up there? And it just amazes me.
Well, yeah, I mean, if you go to blairsinger.com, you'll see a link to a free diagnostic, blairsinger.com, and there's a free diagnostic there that will tell you in any one of, I forget how many areas now, maybe 20 areas. Yeah, 20 areas. Yeah. And by answering these questions, we'll tell you where your little voice, and if you don't know the little voice that Annie and I are talking about, it's a little voice that just said, one little voice, that's the one. It's the one that little chatter. And it'll tell you which little voices are really hurting you and which ones are supporting you, because most people are on automatic pilot. I know that I am a lot of the time, but when you sit down for a second and spend the 5 minutes to figure this out, then you go, oh, that's the one that's shooting me in the foot. That maybe it's maybe you feel like you have a certain fear around being in front of people, or maybe you're uncomfortable with taking or giving acknowledgement, or maybe you have a certain issue around goal setting. I don't know what it is, but when you take this diagnostic, it will tell you so that you can pinpoint which area that you would want to go work on. And quite honestly, that's what the little voice audio program is then designed, that if you choose to do that, you get the audio program, you say, okay, so number 6 is the area that I need. Maybe it's something about not deserving, or I'm not good enough, and I go to the not good enough technique. And once I practice that, then you go take that diagnostic again about 2 or 3 weeks later, and you'll find that it's changed, that your mind has that quickly created a way to be able to be stronger in that area. So, like I said, one of the biggest things you can do in personal development is look in the mirror and see what's going on. And so that's the reason I create diagnostics, so you can take a look at what's working, what's not working, and then if you choose to, you can take action on it. So if you go to blairsinger.com, there's a diagnostic there. And then if you want to take the next step, obviously you can pick up the audio program and actually do a little repair, use it as a repair kit.
That's pretty much what I've done. So I've done the diagnostic a few times, and I tell you, so spot on. I couldn't believe it. I've also done the other diagnostics too. They're quite fun. And it's almost like you're sitting there going, oh my God, what's my result? And it comes out and you go, oh yeah, so spot on. Wow. Okay. So back to work. So I know that obviously following you, and I've followed you around the world. I've been with you in Singapore and in Scottsdale, and I've participated in your courses and all of that. So you have traveled the world for the last 30 odd years, training, facilitating, and leading companies to maximize their potential and grow their bottom line, and not just companies, but also everyday people. So it would be a miracle for you to be in everywhere at the same time. So you've actually brought out a brilliant online program that will actually now reach millions of people, not just a couple, but millions of people. And that education will be at your fingertips 24/7, anytime, anywhere, anyhow. So could you please introduce the Blair Singer Virtual Academy to the world, because it's awesome.
Sure. And thank you for asking, by the way. Just a little bit about that is that, as you said, over the last 30 years, I've worked with thousands of organizations and people in probably over 25 plus different countries. We can get some really good results. For example, we were in Vietnam last week, or about a week and a half ago, and in a 10-minute selling session, got 275 people to do over $3.5 million in sales in their own business. Now, that's real sales. And we've done others similar to that. I've taken organizations, insurance organization, and doubled their insurance premiums from about 700 million to 1.4 billion in 18 months. And people say, well, how do you do that? Well, there's a formula for doing that, which I'm not going to go into right now. But the frustration that I had is that after I got done working with them, or once they leave the workshop, then what happens? It all falls apart again. Because they go back to your old environment, back to your old friends. The little voices kick back in again. I'm not there to drive it. I can't be there to coach all the time. And so it became very, very frustrating. As a matter of fact, I stopped doing public programs for quite a while because I would get frustrated with that. Once in a while there'd be a few people that would, maybe you get about 10, 15% that would continue to produce results, but the rest wouldn't. Because it really clear it's very expensive to keep coming to programs and to travel around the world like you are and to do all those kinds of things. So it wasn't until about a year and a half ago when I came across some technology that made it possible then to ensure that those kinds of results, 15 to 85% increases in sales, turning your health around, turning your business around, could be done without me having to physically put people through a workshop or have to physically go there and work with them or charge the $5,000 to $10,000 a month that I charge in coaching fees. So and so we invested in a multi-million-dollar platform that allows me to be in front of you just like this 24/7. Anytime you want to, on the privacy of your own handheld device or your laptop or whatever. So for me to coach you or anyone on how to master that little voice. Basically, it's three and a half hours of lessons and videos and exercises and techniques broken down into about 3 to 5 minute segments. Me working with you, just me coaching you. Now, it's obviously on video, so it's not live, but me coaching you every step of the way until by the end you've got mastery of your little voice. Now, how do we do that? At the end of each section, I give you a little quiz, a little test. So so to make sure you understand the information, we can track to see how you're doing and give you a call if we need to get you restarted again. So what it did is it brought back the ability for me to hold the context around you. And I know as long as I've got you in, like that, there you go. As long as I've got you in there and I can keep working with you, I know we can get the results. We recently put up the sales mastery module too, because sales is your number one skill in business. If you can't, sales equals income. If you can't generate income, you can't survive. And so demystified that whole process and broke it down into about 10 or 12 steps. Master each step. I make sure you master step 1, then you master step 2, make you actually go out and do calls, you come back, you report back in. So it's very high level of accountability, and that's what the Virtual Training Academy is about. And that's why I was so excited about it, because now I can still be there and still manage the environment that you're in as long as you click and open it up. And we've had some miraculous results for people that normally would have just, oh, well, that was good information, and went on their way and went back to their old habits. So yeah, so that's the Virtual Training Academy, and we're going to be adding other modules. For the end of the year, we're going to put Team Code of Honor, which is how to take ordinary people and turn them into a championship, high-producing team, step by step. How to be a powerful presenter, so that you can command any room, anytime, any place, and never be intimidated by being in front of a room, and also how to be a great teacher. It's something for those that aspire to it. So obviously you can see I'm very excited about it. We've got it in multiple languages. I think we have it in Polish now, in Spanish, and Chinese, and obviously in English and French, I think, as well. So we've got lots of languages, and I'm just super excited about it, because now you can have the level of training that Annie's talking about, the privacy of your own laptop. And you go back to any lesson you want to, anytime you want to. And if you have a problem on a sales call, you come back, go to that section, say, how do I handle this better? And then you can go back and close your deal. So that's the Virtual Training Academy.
Thanks, Blair. Last night, before I went to bed, I went into it, and I actually did a couple of the sessions. And honestly, I felt that you were there in front of me, and especially when you asked the question and I didn't answer and you said answer. So I actually impulsively answered. I literally felt I was in there with you. And then when I had to do the questionnaire, and one of them I clicked on a wrong letter, even though I knew the answer, I clicked on a wrong letter, and then I went back and I went back forward, and he said, oh, okay, I'll let you answer it again this time.
Right.
And I was literally talking to the computer and to you. This is so cool. It's
Yeah, that's
really,
what I'm saying.
really
The
cool.
technology now is to the place where we can make it very interactive. It's not just a video of me on a stage doing something. This is really me, this close, like we are right now, working with
Yeah.
you, asking you questions, you respond, asking you questions, you respond, you do this, you come back. So again, what we know about accelerated learning was we're now able to put into this amazing platform. So for those people that are watching this or listening to this right now, the distance, and this is what Annie and I always talk about, the distance between you and where you want to be is not as far as most people think. It can be like I said, think about $3.5 million in sales in 10 minutes. Now, for most people in that room, that was more money than they'd made in 6 months individually, but they did it in 10 minutes. And you got to ask yourself how you do that. It's not about technique. It's about what's going on between this ear and this ear right here. And I would maintain that if you don't pay attention and do something about your little voice, I call it public enemy number one. It will take the hardest working people with the most talent, people with the greatest products and ideas, and render them helpless and frustrated unless you understand that there's one thing, typically there's one thing or two things up here that are blocking whatever it is that you're trying to get. And once you find it and eliminate it, which is what I show you how to do, then the floodgates of money and income and health and whatever it is you want come to you. So again, if you're interested in it, you go to my website at blairsinger.com. There's a link to there, and I think we're offering for all of your group. We're going to offer something special. Is that right?
Yes, we are. Would you like to give us the offer? Or do you
Well,
want me to
actually,
give?
the offer is 50% off of the published price, and I wish I could tell you what that is, but I don't know. But is there a code that they have to go onto it?
Yes, it is. It's promo 1LS, so PROMO1LS, all in capital letters.
Okay, say that again.
So again, PROMO1LS. Yes, so definitely this VTA, I highly recommend it. And because I did travel around the world and I participated in the live courses, which are definitely transformational. But as you said, when I came home, it was like, okay, I wrote my notes, I looked at my notes, but then it's almost like I need a refresher. So when I go into it, I just go, oh yeah, I remember that. And then I look at it because obviously my goal is to teach and to facilitate and to assist people to get the better out of themselves. I think I know where you're coming from. It's probably that's why I was so attracted to you and your teachings, is because you bring the best out in people. That's what I want to do. Because it happened to me. So I had my transformation, and definitely everybody could really benefit from it. So
Well, thank you. Well, thank you for that. I'll say this too, that if whoever's watching this right now, if you're watching right now, is that I would suspect that if you're a friend of Annie's or you're part of her circle or part of my circle, that there's a part of you that enjoys the same thing, that really gets a thrill out of helping other people be better. You know, not everybody feels that way. There's a lot of people that just want to be better on their own, and they actually get resentful of other people that improve in their lives. But if you happen to be a person that really wants to help a lot of people, and you're also a person that wants to make good money helping a lot of people, then you're in the right circle here, because that's how all of what we do is geared. It's really about supporting others, but also about being richly rewarded for helping other people. Because like I said, I would suspect that most of you work very hard, you have very high intentions, very big hearts, but you got to get your little voice in order. And number one, you got to learn how to generate income. Number two, when you have those two pieces together, then the world cannot stop you. I mean, the floodgates of income, of wealth, of money, millions of dollars, great health. I mean, some other time you should tell them your story of how your health transformed so quickly. But those things are all very possible in a very short period of time. It's not hocus pocus, but you just got to have the right coaching and the right training. I mean, that's what's worked for me in the past. I've had great trainers. So thank you, Annie. Thank you for what you said.
Well, one of your mantras is that teachers are leaders and leaders are teachers, and you say that at every one of your programs, and yeah, I can see how that is. So, do you wanna share with us your thoughts on that statement?
Yeah, it used to be that a leader was somebody that stood up in front of a group and had a lot of charisma and could drive teams, and that everybody would rally behind. And I think that that's still valid, but I think that in the year 2000, all of that began to change a little bit. And being in an information age, and being, with information doubling about every 9 months or so, it's not possible to know everything. It's not possible to have all the answers. It's not possible. And did that mean that you had to be some kind of a charismatic guru in order to be a leader? And the answer to that is absolutely not. That the best leaders, if you think about it, the people that have changed your life probably the most, taught you a thing or two. Maybe it wasn't in a classroom. Could have been a friend. It could have been a parent. Could have been a coach. Could have been somebody out on the streets in the real world that maybe saw more in you than you saw in yourself. And I think that the future of leaders belong to people that can teach. Teachers are leaders, because if you're going to be a great teacher, you better be walking the talk of whatever it is you're teaching, or doing your best to get that way. And that's the way, as many of you know, Robert Kiyosaki and I've been best friends since 1982, and that's the way we were brought up into this business. Is that if you're going to teach, you better know what you're talking about, and you better walk the talk. So I truly believe that teachers are leaders, and if you want to be a great leader, you got to be able to teach your team how to sell, how to be good team players, how to get the best out of themselves. Otherwise, they don't need you as a leader. So as a leader, your job is to teach other people the skills they don't have, but most importantly, to teach them how to believe in themselves, because there's an expression by one of my coaches, Mac Newton, who says your results can never exceed your self-concept. If you don't think you're good in sales, you won't be good in sales. If you don't think that you can lose weight, you won't lose weight. If you don't think that you're capable of a great relationship, you won't have one. But you got to be, as a leader, you got to be able to teach people how to improve their own self-concept, their self-image of themselves. If they do that, then they improve. And you can give them all the techniques in the world, and none of them will work if something inside doesn't change. So that's why a great leader has to be a teacher. And a good teacher, by default, is automatically a great leader.
Yes, thank you for that. So this brings us to the end of our little hangout. So, ladies and gentlemen, here is the essence of Mr. Blair Singer. He's my mentor, and I'm working on getting certified to be able to teach some of his courses. He's a spectacular human being who has dedicated his life to serving others. And he does this continuously, consistently, with passion, with love. And he gives every person the single most important gift in the world, which is giving them back to them, or you back to you. So, Blair, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. I look forward to the next time we meet. And yes, thank you for your time. So this is Annie Kallis from Coffee Time Coaching. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.
Thank you, Annie.
Thanks,
thank
Blair.
you, Annie, and thank you for doing the work that you're doing. And you will be one of the best trainers in all of Australia. That's my commitment to you.
Thank you, Blair. Oh, yes, I will. And now my little voice is going, ah! But no, yes, I will. I sure will. I'm very determined. And as Mac Newton says, commitment to completion, definitely am. So thank you very much for all your guidance. I'll see you next time. Thanks,
All right,
Blair.
bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.